enough of a road to continue taking it through spaces, but that in itself was exhilarating. Hi, welcome to Invictus Motors. We've got this Porsche 981, the Cayman GT4, and when it comes to the Porsche product, the GT4, the GT3 and the GT3 RS is really what is the pinnacle of Porsche ownerships. And the Cayman 981 GT4, when first launched in 2014, should have, in my view, been launched much earlier than that. And that's purely down to the fact I guess it's a better product than a GT3. That's what many would say, because the engine is in the right place when it comes to the GT4. But ultimately, they launched it circa 10 years later, because the Porsche Cayman was first reintroduced back in sort of 2004, 2005. And the reason I say reintroduced is if you look at the Porsches of the 50s, they were monocoque chassis. The Cayman in 2004, 2005 had the heritage of the 911s from the 50s and from the 60s, because it had, you know, the monocoque chassis, the lines ran very similar to the way they ran in the 2005 Caymans, and ultimately the GT4 is really the best thing out there when it comes to a Porsche product. Because the Cayman, as I said, if you were to actually compare it to a 911, many would argue, especially some of the sports magazines, by voting it in 2016, 17 and 18 being the best sports car. And that's because they handle really well and they have this, you know, beautiful lines that run all the way throughout the vehicle. And the GT4 really says it all. Just looking at this, finished in this stunning white color, complemented with the matte black alloys, the center sports tailpipe exhaust system, and just everything about it. And this particularly being the Club Sport package. Let me actually just show you the inside of it. Yes, I'd love a GT3, but you would have to almost spend twice the money that you would spend on this, on a GT3. But to actually experience something that doesn't handle and drive with something that's got the mid-engine setup. So this has the 991.1 GT3 sport seats, and also the later, actually, this is the steering wheel that's found in the later Porsche 911s and also in the later Porsche Caymans, the 718s, finished in Alcantara, the gear selector finished in Alcantara, sports exhaust, sports, and everything you could want in a GT4. This has practically got it all. And I think the best way to get out in one of these is not to just talk about it, but to actually take it out for a drive. And this is exactly what I want to be doing now, is to take it out for a little spin and just going through the car with what it's like to drive. So let's get on with it. Just to correct a couple of things, this is the Club Sport package, fire extinguisher, the black roll cage, the Sycamore seats, obviously the Alcantara leather. If you're looking for something that is going to have everything in terms of a spec of a GT4 with incredibly low miles of 22,000 miles, then this has got to potentially be the best GT4, definitely at the price of £58,000. Money for value, it doesn't get any better than this. In terms of the engine, this has the 3.8 litre engine that is borrowed from the 911 Carrera S, the Porsche 991.1, and obviously it's been tuned to the GT4, so it's not got the same tuning of the 3.8 litre naturally aspirated Carrera S engine. And the suspension, I think either was the front suspension from memory is the suspension from the 991.1 GT3, and the rear was specifically designed for the GT4. And this has been given a full-on makeover from the front, from the back, in comparison to what you would find in the Porsche Cayman 981. And this product ran up until 2016 from memory. So this was also a limited number car. So from memory, I think it was 4,000 was made. just take it around this round village bit for two reasons. Just to kind of illustrate that these are actually quite comfortable, quite nice to drive, even in low speeds. Considering the 981 GT4 being very much a race-focused car, it doesn't mean one can't have fun on it or actually even drive it at low speeds. Unlike the GT3 RS, which I think struggles massively at low speeds. The clutch is very responsive and almost gives me the vibes of the clutch that you would find on the Porsche 718 GT4. And what I want to be doing is pressing that sports exhaust button, turning the Porsche sports exhaust on, and the sports exhaust system, as a matter of fact, was replaced, and it's a brand new one directly from Porsche. The auto blip and the rev matching that you get just sounds so amazing. It's music to my ears. So I went up to third gear, dropped it back to second. And if you're wondering what sort of BHP is produced from the 3.8 litre naturally aspirated engine, this produces 380 brake horsepower, 420 newton meters of torque, the 0 to 62 miles per hour possible in 4.4 seconds, and the top speed being 183 miles per hour. This car isn't necessarily all about how fast you can drive it. It's really about the experience of it. So I've dropped to first gear, and let me just actually put it through its paces by taking it up to the fourth gear and taking it through sort of its motion. So let's begin. Not enough of a road to continue taking it through its paces, but that in itself was exhilarating. Just enough of a joy that I got simply from doing that. You know, for me, it says enough. So how secure and how comfortable I feel in terms of the grip that you get around corners and how tightly it handles. It is just astonishingly good. In terms of paperwork, this has got practically everything you would need, and it's got it all serviced as and when it needed, and it's been just immaculately well maintained. So I'll first go through the V5 as a matter of fact. Mr. Holland, we'd written a bit of a story of what his situation is, new baby, he needed the money to get a Defender. But prior to Mr. Holland, it's got 7 former keepers. Mr. Holland had it since 2021, so since May 2021. And these GT4s were actually exchanging hand. I said it right at the beginning of the video, for almost, I think, twice what somebody paid Porsche, you know, the RRP at the time, purely because they were done in a limited number. They wouldn't just sort of sell them to anyone. You had to be some sort of a special customer where you've had like a relationship with Porsche to get one of these. But all these years later, they've still held money, you know, 10 years later, still have held money incredibly well. Daniel purchased the vehicle from a firm called Scott Hardy, and he, as a matter of fact, there's an invoice here where he paid £62,000. So 61,991 is what he actually paid in terms of a retail price when he purchased it, going back to May 2021. And it's being listed at 57,995 with us, so very close to, you know, what it would have cost to buy this back then. And again, it just goes to show one that is well spec'd, well looked after. With everything that this has, they hold value. Now, in terms of service history, this is basically all the service history here. First registered in 2015. And I can actually just cover that registration date with you. That was registered in November 2015. And it had its first service in October 2017 at Porsche Central West London. Then the subsequent second service, again in October 2019 at Porsche Central West London. Then in December 2021 at Porsche Central Nottingham. Then it had a service in April 2024. And these guys actually specialize in prestige high-end Porsches, Ferraris, and they do some high-end stuff servicing-wise. It had quite a few of the big ticket items done. Carried out a full major service, new spark plugs, 2 new pollen filters, 2 new air filters, and obviously all the fluids were checked and topped up. And ultimately, all the parts were provided by Porsche main dealer when it was serviced. So if you're looking for something that's well spec'd, well sorted, with all the right paperwork, then look no further. It's right here at Invictus, and it's priced wise the cheapest Porsche 981 GT4. That's obviously not category written off GT4 at this price point, and obviously definitely by far the cheapest considering the Porsche 918 GT3 bucket seats, and the fact it's got the fire extinguisher, the roll cage in black, and everything you would want. This has it. Club Sport package. I think that word in itself speaks volumes. Please don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. We earn out of YouTube, so you know, you supporting us, our work goes a long way. Bye bye.